Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Traveling Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. Today I'm in Boston at Faneuil Hall. This is such an interesting building, and there's such a paradox here. The founder, or the one who gifted this building to the city of Boston, was Peter Faneuil, and it was really cool that he did that. It made a huge difference in the way how we move forward with the Revolutionary War and all that stuff. The first floor there was the market floor. The second floor was the meeting floor. I'll get into that again in a moment. But here's what's really, really interesting, is that Peter Faneuil, even with all his generosity, right, that money, a lot of that money, came from the transatlantic slave trade. Yes, he was a slave trader, so some of his money came from. And then this building, this great hall, is where many speeches are going to take place on freedom and liberty and all of that stuff. And it came from slave money from people who were in bondage. So go figure, right? Human rights with slave money, very interesting. Well, the nickname of this place is actually called the Cradle of Liberty, right? Cradle, right? The birthing. This is the early beginning years of our liberty right here, because this is where so much of the talk was taking place on human universal rights, right? Again, American paradox. It was funded through like slave money, so go figure. In Boston, this is the first public meeting hall in Boston. Again, the bottom floor was a market, and there's some surrounding buildings. Quincy Market, there's like a north and south building here that actually had the first food hall in the country. It was actually there, believe it or not, right? All right, so this place right here, this is where a lot of the revolutionary fervor was taking place. It was ripe with fervor. James Otis was here, right, giving big talks. Of course, Samuel Adams, there's a big statue of him right there. He's giving big talks, getting the people all fired up about how natural rights of all people, right, all people, right? And again, James Otis is credited. Coming up for a man's house is his castle. You just can't come in there and search it without a search warrant. Now, if you can see on the very top of the building, there's a 4-foot copper grasshopper weather vane. Now, believe it or not, this weather vane used to help the colonists catch spies. I guess maybe if somebody was like asking too many questions or listening too intently, they would say, "Hey, what's on top of Faneuil Hall?" And they would say, like, "A weather vane." Yes, definitely a weather vane, right? Definitely one of those rooster weather vanes. And they would like, "No, it's not a rooster weather vane. You must be a spy," right? It's not a typical rooster weather vane, right? It's a grasshopper. We gotcha. You must be a spy. So another famous thing that took place here was there was a lot of talk to the lead up to the Boston Tea Party that took place here. People got all worked up here. So many people gathered. It got crazy. Some of the overflow had to go to the old South House meeting house. That's how big it was, right? Now, it continues. Right? Remember, it's all people, universal rights for all people. So not only does this work for the colonists who are trying to break free from England, but about 100 years later, Frederick Douglass and many other famous abolitionists are here giving talks saying, "Hey, guess what? Right? All people. There's no room for slavery. Right? It's all people. Universal rights for all people." And then about another 50 or so years after that, you have a lot of the women from the suffrage movement, a lot of the famous women here giving talks, all right, about, hey, it's time. The universal rights for all people went to the woman too, right? That's way past due. And it eventually does go to the woman as well. 14 U.S. presidents have spoken here. Remember, this is the place where people go and talk, right? Debate, argue, work things out, right? 14 U.S. presidents have talked here. And believe it or not, you too can talk here. If you pay $200 and come here and talk here, right? However, there is a rule. No revolutionary talk. Can't talk about overthrowing the government, which I find kind of comical, kind of paradoxical, because isn't that what this place was built on? Overthrowing the English government, right? Freedom of speech, right? Protesting, arguing. That's what this place is built on. But you can't talk here today. You just can't talk about overthrowing the government today. And of course, when you get a building that's been around for this many years and have seen so many things, there's always some people that are going to say, "It's haunted." There's been a bunch of people that have worked here that have said at night They hear noises, think they hear whispering, think they can hear what seems to be the never-ending night debates continue in this building. Go figure. So you know, everybody, when I'm doing my Travel in Time with Dan shows, I mix travel with history and with leadership. All right. Again, Boston, I can't say enough about Boston. One of the greatest cities. You got to come down here. It's Faneuil Hall, Quincy Market. Just such a great place to be and check out. Travel down here, check it out. History, I've already shared a bunch of the history with you of Faneuil Hall. All right. So what's the leadership lesson? The leadership lesson is great leaders create spaces where people can speak, debate, organize, and challenge injustices. That's what great leaders do. Everybody, thank you for spending time with me today on the Travel in Time with Dan show at Faneuil Hall, where we mix travel with history and with leadership. And I'll be back again real soon with another great episode somewhere else. Until then, take care now.